Great, welcome. Welcome to Around the World in 80 Rocks, Fossils, and Formations. This is number 7 of this series, in the third series of what we've been doing. Many of you have been here since the beginning. Thank you so much. And it's so cute when I get behind and you guys start bugging me. When are we doing the next one? I love it. So we're doing Asia, part 1. Asia is a huge continent, so it was challenging just to get through half of it. So we are going to get started shortly. If you've just joined us, please turn off your video and audio. And if you have a question during or something that's wrong, just do so verbally. Don't put it in the chat because I can't check the chat. All right, here we go. Well, today, as I said, around the world in 80 rocks, fossils, and formations. And this is Asia Part 1. If you're new, I'm Roseann Hansen. I run a business with my husband, Exploring Overland, includes my Field Arts Institute, and I've been journaling, well, since I was 8 years old, and kind of professionally for 35, 40 years. So I've published Nature Journaling for a Wildlife, Master of Field Arts. Those are journaling books. And we publish a magazine, Exploration Quarterly, which includes a lot of fun field arts. So just as our quick geology background, this helps us remember what we're doing and why we're learning what we're learning, some of the basics. So rocks are made of minerals. Minerals are, and all of you who've been here all along, you can recite along in your head. Minerals are made of elements, which are such as iron, magnesium, calcium, silicon. And minerals become rocks through the formation processes in the earth. Think of minerals as cooking ingredients, as rocks, as the finished dish. And that's a wonderful young geologist artist, Wojciech Hibbel. And remember our 3 rock types, which we'll see almost all of them today. I don't know about metamorphic: igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. Oh, and my usual joke, what did the mountain say after the earthquake? Somebody probably thought of this one. It wasn't my fault. All right, we are going to start. Where are we starting? Well, in far Western Asia, Turkey, famous area of spires and these incredible caves built into this formation. There are thousands of these dwellings. Many of them, that's an Airbnb on the left. Many of them are hotels. There are entire villages carved into the rock over many, I guess it goes back 1,000 years or so. So this is Cappadocia, Turkey. These spires, the formations are called ignimbrites, which is intrusive igneous. Oh, we do have igneous, which is welded tuff, which is ash and gases suspended in the heat as they're flowing rapidly from a volcano. Then that gets welded into these formations. This happened about 60 million years ago because Turkey is at the Asian and European continental plates, and there are 3 mountain ranges that are all dormant or extinct volcanoes right in this region, and they call these chimneys peribacalari. And as I said, they house all these incredible even whole towns and cities. So, oh, and I just ran into my desk, woke up my printer, so you're hearing a strange little noise there. We're going to start with I'm going to number each one, and we're going to do this peribacalari, fairy chimney, which I love that term. And what I do is I plan on my spread here. I have a 9x6 pages. Those of you who have bigger pages can do bigger. I'll do 4 on this spread. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want to plan ahead, kind of roughly where I'm going to place this tall, skinny guy. So here's the top. And I'm just doing very lightly here. And then it's going to be as far down as here. I think that's about, it looks like the waist of it is about 50 of the shape. So I'm going to go ahead and just roughly sketch this in, make sure I got my proportions right. I'm going to worry about some of the details later, like, some of the bumpies and bits, and then we'll place our windows and doors. How does that look? Yeah, I can work with that. I think the proportions are good. I can add the suggestion of the lower part. I'm not going to do everything down here because I want to leave room for my next feature. So coming down here, let's see, to keep things proportional, let's put our door in here. So it comes through this lip here. And here's another, they've carved into it there. And you've got your door going in right here. And that helps us keep our bearings. And then we've got a wall here, which is just kind of I'm going to let it disappear because it's not going to be part of the main drawing. Okay. And I'm not going to worry about the swimming pool and the person since this is a door. I've got a little bit of scale and I've got we're going to do some wavy here. Remember, we're capturing, we're not copying exactly, so it doesn't have to be utterly perfect because we're moving quickly here. Now, right in the middle, we've got a window. And I'm just going to sketch that in. They've carved, it was obviously a larger space, so they've carved that out and then filled it in with bricks. So get your little brick marks there. And then there's a window above, right below this seam between. There's kind of another lip here. We're going to make sure we capture a little bit of coming down. And I use pencil so that if I mess up the proportions, I can go back and fix that. So just, I'm following it's almost like a little blind contour drawing here. Don't get too far into the weeds on details because, we're spending about 15 minutes per sketch. We're capturing, we're not copying exactly. Got a little skinny window going there. A bit of looks like a window here. Don't go too much into the details because it's kind of small, but that gives us a nice sense. Coming down here, we've got one right in the middle. And if you forget one, that's fine. Coming down this one, sort of a inset. Looks like it's been partly filled in. And then another little window poking out here. And then I'm not going to do a whole lot more. Just so we can make sure we get our time in here. Let's see, that comes down like this. You can create some of this texture with paint. Yeah, I'm going to call that good for here. And I think what will help as well, just to show some of, in very light, I want to show the other fairy chimneys in the background. Doesn't have to be um, really detailed. And maybe just do some, there's some dwellings here. There's mark it out, but you don't have to make it really strong. Now, what I want to do is write the name here. So I don't forget, this is, um, we're going to, I'm going to title this Para Baccalari. Because I just like that word. And these are fairy chimneys. Yeah, I forgot my eye. And I'm going to put some details there. But if I want to wait, if I'm going to need to wait for some paint to dry, let me start with some paint. Then I'll come back and write while that paint's drying. Don't forget to wake up your paints if you're using watercolor with a little spritzer. I'm going to do a wash of just a very light, I'm going to put a little bit of burnt sienna, clean off my brush. I'm going to just fill this. I'm going to pick up some of the yellow, really water that down. Whoa. If you have, I think yellow ochre would work really well. It's a very, very, very light wash. And I'm going to make this like really watery. See that? Right now I'm using the water brush. I might switch to my other brush in a minute. It's easier to just squeeze out water with this water brush. And you don't want to do it all like solid. Go ahead and leave some texture. Am I even going to, I don't think I'm even going to color those. You can, but don't make them as dark as your subject. So I'm going to switch to the treble water brush. This is squirrel hair. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and, while it's damp, do some shadows. I'm going to hit the undersides of the formations that kind of stick out here. And then let's do some of the darkers. Like this window is completely dark. And the ledge around here. That door is more brown, so I'm going to pick that out with a little burnt sienna. there. And then just really fairly wet. I want to make this a little bit darker on the edges to show the more conical shape. And see how I'm blotting in like that to help with some of that texture. It's so dry here that everything's drying super quickly. All right, we're going to let that dry. I'm going to write a few things and then we'll be moving on to the next one. Don't like to miss my details here. Once this is dry, I can go in and refine more of the shadows and shapes and fix some of these, like, see that hard line I got there? Fix that. So these are the ignimbrite nimbrites are welded tough. And that's fused ash. And this is in Turkey, very famous area, Cappadocia. And this is about 60 million years ago. And we'll just put, at the meeting of the two continental plates. Told you it was at the far western end of Asia. All right, we're going to move on here. Hold on just a second. I am going to, what am I doing? I'm going to mute myself for just a moment. No, I'm not. I can't figure out how to do that. Okay, hey, now we're moving on to the next area. Where are we heading? We are heading all the way down to the coastal region of Iran, to a fascinating place. This is a rock salt cave. It's the longest in the world, called Namakdan. And salt is halite. There you can see the formula there. It's the longest cave in the world formed from salt, or with salt cave, I guess. It's in Keshem Geopark, and it's almost 7 kilometers long by 40 meters wide. The formations where this salt is created are called diapirs, and they are intrusions that are forced upward during the basin. They call it intracratonic basins, are formed and then crunched together and force up this material. And this is a long time ago, 1 billion years ago to 538 million years ago. And this is fun. Massive rock salt, anhydrite, fetid limestone. I had to look that one up. You can see the yellowy parts in the photo there of the cave. That is sulfur-rich limestone, so it's stinky, fetid. And then some other lovely sounding things. Cherty dolomite, that's fun. So we're going to sketch here the rock cave. And what I tend to do with something like that, that you could like spend all day on. So I'm going to give myself a bounding box. It's also a nice element on a page to have boxes. Um, it helps you contain what you're doing, but also looks nice. So what I'll do is I'm going to start mine here. I'm going to do focus on the white. And remember, we're doing an approximation. We're capturing, we're not copying exactly. Then we're going to want to show the layers. So you're going to come down, start another row, as it were. Just go ahead and start making different rows. Don't worry about copying this exactly, or you'll be doing this all day long. We are in the field, you're sitting on the cave floor. How are you going to be copying this? You're not. You're going to capture it. And you don't have a lot of time. See, those guys are waiting for you. Those are your guides. So you're just doing this quick sketch. It's a lot of graphite in here, so it's okay because there's going to be a lot of gray in here anyway. So to show, you'll want to give a bit of the floor here. Don't go crazy on it here. And here's where we can add some of the fetid limestone. You'll throw in some yellowy bits. And then you've got, I'm not going to worry about, I want to focus on that white here. I'm not going to try to do the secondary white behind it. Here's the cave opening. And our guides, we're going to have them standing here. Just do stick figures, because if you try to do too much detail, it just doesn't work at this scale unless you can draw a much bigger representation. I'm just going to do a couple here, and then this is just going to be striations, and then I'm going to do this pretty dark in here to emphasize these wonderful formations. All right. You see how I sort of edited the scene a little bit? That's okay. We can do that because we are capturing, we're not copying. So what I'm going to do now, we want to make sure we preserve the white bright parts. I'm going to use, where'd my paints go? Hey, I've got some of this sulfury color left over. Let's grab some of that and do some of the floor here. Remember to leave some of it white. That's good. Now I'm going to wipe that out because I'm going to use neutral tint. It's one of my new favorite. I keep this little bit in there. It's Daniel Smith. It's called neutral tint. It's a wonderful mix that you can use to for everything from really, really darks. So watch here. To water it way down and use it for creating shadows within paintings that you've already laid down color, like I did in the fairy columns. and it doesn't change the tone. I'm going to water this down. I even got some of the yellow came splooking out there. That's okay. That actually, I like that lighter here so that, oops, shows the cave getting darker as it goes deeper. There. I'm going to let that sit for just a bit. Then we can work on now on this shading around each of the stalactites, I guess, salt stalactites. Very, very light of the neutral tint. If you don't have neutral tint, use make a mix of burnt sienna and a dark blue. Trying to make sure I leave bright white as well. The only way to get it to look really bright is to put dark around it. I'm trying to work really fast. There, see, that's helping. Oops, that got a little bit too dark there. I think that's too dark. Tissue is your friend. Neutral tint is liftable. For the most part, looks like it's, once it dries though, it's not liftable. Needs to be a little bit more color or something in there, almost a pinky orange. I'm going to try just dropping a tiny bit of, I mean, just the barest color. Maybe I'll try the better brush. It's a little easier to control. See how I'm just dotting that in right now? Hoping that will give it some depth. It was just looking kind of flat, right? Yeah. Where the light hits it here, then I'm going to put the color on the opposite side. Right now, I'm just got a tiny bit more yellow. Let's see how that looks. Now, we need the more dark. Let's throw in some of the burnt sienna brown and enhance these guys a little bit. And would we leave that white like that, just all blown out, or would you try to do any detail? I don't think so. I think I would leave it. I'm gonna let that dry, see how it goes. The one thing I definitely know I'll do coming back is move that. I need to define this edge better right here. Now, I've got to get rid of that hard edge. Give that maybe a little bit more relief. And again, I edited this. There's more salt over here, but I just decided that would be hard at the scale to get that done. I'm going to put a bounding box around it, but it's still wet. So this is number 2. And this is Namakdan Cave. Iran. And this is the longest salt cave in the world. But first, let me write down its halite, which is NaCl, rock salt. And it's the longest in the world. At, what did we say, 6.6 kilometers by 40 meters wide. So that's long. And what else? Oh, it's hugely old. 1 billion to 530, we'll say 9 to round it up, million years ago. I like how that one yellow popped out. Probably one thing I would do, maybe I would add a little bit more yellow interest in here just so that doesn't look so weird. There is a fair amount of that fetid limestone, which I want to write down, includes, which just because I liked it. Which contains sulfur or sulfide. It's sulfide rich. Fun. And we have time later. We come back when we kind of add more color up here. We can help refine this a little bit. It's too wet to do anything much right now. But I think for a field capture, we're good. You come back later at your hotel or your camp and you work on it a little bit more. And now we're going to move on to our next region. Where is that? Well, we're going to hop scotch over to Afghanistan. Ah, whoa, this is like, be still my heart. This is the famous lapis lazuli, and that's with pyrite inclusion, which it often includes. It's an incredible gemstone mineral, and the word uh, lapis lazuli comes from Laz word. I'm not probably saying that right, Persian for gem. And it's actually an aggregate of minerals, so it's not a single gemstone. Lazurite, pyrite, diopside, and calcite. And it's been mined for a long time, since the 7th millennium BC at least, in this region, which is now northern Afghanistan. And It is the source of the pigment color ultramarine. Since the Middle Ages, the famous ultramarine pigment means from over the sea, ultramarine. And the intense blue color is, this is such a great term, is due to the trisulfur radical anion. And that's how you write that. S with dot dash and a 3 subscript in the crystal. And so it's completely unique. And what I found when one is wanting to copy that color, you can't. We can't create that color out of most, like my little uh, minimalist palette, cyan, magenta, and yellow, because it is its own it's a single pigment color. Very, very difficult to approximate that color. Um, I'll show you what I was playing with earlier because I thought, how do you copy that color with a limited palette or with any palette? And the answer is you don't. Um, None of these really come close except that one because that's ultramarine blue. So trying to mix my own just isn't going to get there. Interesting, isn't it? So sometimes you do need to reach for, and I keep running into my desk. Sorry, I'm in a new setup. You need to reach for your ultramarine. Um, that's about the easiest way to do it. You can, cobalt will do a really nice approximation if you have that. So otherwise, other blues, I'm not able to as easily approximate ultramarine. So, but how do we get those inclusions easily? Here's a fun tip for you. First of all, I'm going to freehand an oval. May not come out well the first time. That's okay. It's not going to be a perfect jewelry cabochon. Then we have this lovely pyrite inclusions going across. So let's do your inclusions, add a few more, just pencil them in a bit. And there's a couple of ways you can do this very, very carefully by um, painting around bits, or you can use, you ever used waxed paper, or if you have a frisket or a real resist. But for my field kit, I don't carry things like frisket. I'm getting obsessed about the shape and I need to stop. So here's a fun tip. First, we put some color in there. Now, you could use it, it's fooling the eye. It's kind of it's metallic-y, definitely. It's mostly silvery. Sometimes it reflects gold-ish. So I'm going to use green leaf blueberry metallic paints, but you could throw in dots of yellow and use your uh, neutral tint as well. So I'm going to do both. I'm doing silver. It's not really going to show the metallic, but I think it's fun. And I'm leaving some white as well, just touching. And I'm going in with the gold. Because it's just gonna fool the eye a little bit, thinking we've got gold going on here. I'm going to let that dry while I write a little bit, because then I'm going to use a waxed paper to create a resist. So we're on number 3. Oh, look what I just did. I had just said pyrite. Oh, that's hilarious. First time I've done that in all these times. What is this? Like the 110th? This is lapis lazuli. How am I going to fix that? Hmm. So writing first in ink. Eee, this is what you got. I might just do a strike through. I might cover that with gouache later. I don't know. I have to embrace the mistake though. So this is a metamorphic rock. Ooh, we did get metamorphic. And it is, I like that. La, hard, equals gem in Persian. And it is the pigment ultramarine. Mined for 7 plus, well, that's 8 millennia, at least, it said. Oops. And ultramarine means from over the sea. And for you nerds, that is pigment PB29, pigment blue 29. It's very difficult to create from scratch pure pigment color, um, which is why I can't do it from cyan, magenta, and yellow. My cyan has too, it's too, ooh, it's got a little bit more green than say cobalt. So it just doesn't look right. Let's take a look at what real ultramarine paint pigment. This is pure pigment PB29 I'm using here. French ultramarine, I believe is what this one is. Oop, haha, I almost forgot my wax. Okay, so you take wax paper. When you pull it out of the wax roll, use a Sharpie to write top. Don't just write T, because T looks the same from either side. Ask me how I know. And then place this over your, what you want to reserve, and then use a dullish pencil. Press pretty hard. Any place you don't want paint to go. This is going to put wax down. This is great for animal tracks, um, little tiny veins in a leaf you want to reserve. A great tip. And then this shows, you can see where you've colored. And now when we put the paint on, it will not go on that area. Let's try this again, this time with, it's called a resist. Yep, look at that color, it's perfect.
This is such a great technique, Roseanne. Do you think parchment paper will work?
It has whatever has, if it has wax, I haven't tried that. No, because you want to be able to see through it. You have to be able to see what you're covering or you'll miss your mark.
Roseanne, I carry a birthday candle,
Ooh, good idea.
a little white one that you can see through when you just rub the wax over
That
what
is a
you.
great idea. I do have a little wax crayon in my kit as well. I took it from one of those places where in restaurants they give you the little wax crayons for kids, and there was a white one in there, so I grabbed it. Um, I'm using the water brush right now because what I want to do is to get some of that mottled look. I want to drop in like so. And it's harder to do that. I can squeeze and get more water and create. I do want a little bit of bloom action there. Don't want hard edges. So squeeze, push, and I do want that uh, mottled look there. Okay, show you how that's looking. That's not going to be bad, is it? Interesting how that is because it's a pure pigment. I can't believe I messed that up. That's really bothering me. That OCD in me, that perfectionist is screaming right now. I hate that. So I'm having to take deep breaths. Okay. So I think well, I can't do anything more with this. Um, it's going to have to sit there. And because the way my journal is, it's a little bowed here. So we're going to have some pooling and I'll work with that. I'll make it part of my painting. Once that's dry, I can go in and I'll be able to tease out some of those hard edges like that. And then I'll add darks with the uh, neutral tint and a shadow to enhance that. But it's time for us to be moving on soon. I can't really go back over here because it's just too wet. Besides, I don't want to look at that headline again. I know. Who else suffers from that? It's like, oh, no. Okay. And that's the hardest thing, isn't it? Is getting over our wanting everything to be perfect right off the bat. And we're talking about field sketching here. This is not studio work. This is not something that, we're going to sell. This is for us. This is to capture in our journals, to study it, and really have a good time drawing to learn about something. And I learned a lot about lapis lazuli and the pyrite inclusions. Um, I guess I shouldn't have struck it out. I could have left that in. Pyrite included lapis. Maybe I'll fix it that way. So from Afghanistan. Ooh, I didn't write that on there. Remind me when I go back, I'll write Afghanistan, the location. I always try to want to do that. Now we're popping over into China, the Tianshan. Did I say that right? If anyone knows for sure, mountain region in the Taklamakan Desert. The Tianshan is up. Where are we? Well, I don't have a cursor at the moment. Is up above the desert, and we're looking at this incredible.
Fault.
Yeah, is that amazing? It's called the Pikyung Fault, and because of the iron oxide pigment layers and then the fault, it's just like a perfect representation. It's called a strike slip fault, and it is the same type of fault as the San Andreas, where you have horizontal shear stress making sideways motion rather than vertical displacement. So it's moving north south in this case. Um, And it's is really long, 70 kilometers, 40 miles. The offset is about 3 kilometers. And cool, they know what the colors are. The red are Devonian sandstones formed by ancient rivers, a lot of iron in that. The green are sandstones formed in moderately deep oceans. And the creamy colors are Cambrian Ordovician limestone from a shallow ocean. And then these more, the sand like color are sediments left up by the dried lake beds. So super cool. Let's jump into drawing this. See, there we go.
Roseann, are we looking at this from above or is
Yes,
this
this is a satellite.
okay.
Yeah, this is from Google Earth.
Okay.
So I'm going to give myself a little bounding. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this up here because I'm just going to go back and remove that strike, pyrite included there, and I'm happier. Okay, so this is number 4. Oh, and I forgot. This is from Afghanistan. This is the Pikyung, Piqi with an accent, Ang, fault. And it's in the Taklamakan Desert. In China. So what we'll do is literally do a bounding box, because that will help keep us organized. I'm not going to make it super huge. Probably just go right to the edge here. And that harmonizes our page too, because we'll have square, square, and then 2 nice shapes. That will help with that. I like that. Now, what I would do is very lightly, the fault's going to make it, I almost said default. Going to default to the left. Well, I'm going to make just a little dotted line. So that's my fault line. I'm going to start with the red Devonian sandstones. Here, we're copying, we're excuse me, we're capturing, we're not copying exactly. So it's okay to, we're just going to have to do some wavy lines like this. And it sort of starts to fringe out here. I'm going to make it a little wider. It's got 2 tones. Just go ahead and make that. And then we have, do another layer. You're going to get the green, fringe it out. Don't worry about being exact here. What we're going to be showing is the fault. You're not illustrating a geology textbook here. There are roughly, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do one more, and it keeps curving up. Looks like a dark reddish one there. And then we're going to come down. Notice how the red Devonian sandstone it got smushed as it sheared. It kind of smeared, didn't it? And then it comes down like so. Not as wide. It really changed, as I studied this, the layers got very deformed on the downward southward shear. That's what I noticed. The fault line, give it a little tiny zigzaggies, just very faint. It sort of peters out there. There's another water course here. Now, this area is all like lake bed, just drainage. We've got a plateau here that's draining into this here, and look at this outflow. See, this is what we get when we study. So water comes down here. It's draining lightly into just tiny little braided, don't get too much detail, but it comes down here, and then you can see as it comes down these canyons, look at that. The color, the reddish color. So we will capture that a little bit. Isn't that interesting? And then this is what, when we're studying, we're drawing to learn about this. Here's a braided water course where those colors are going. And then we want to just show that there's topography here. Don't go crazy with pencil or whatever. Capturing, not copying exactly. Probably stop for that for now. I just love doing all this detail. But what we're practicing is capturing quickly. And then in here, we've got just adding just a little bit of detail, not a lot. Water course there. All right. Let's see what we're gonna get here. Gotta re-wet my paint. It is so dry. We'll be using a lot of burnt sienna. Gonna start with a very light wash, kind of an adobe color, which I create with burnt sienna, a tiny bit of magenta, and then I'm going to grab some of that yellow, little magenta, more magenta. Really water this down. So I'm going to not do the left side yet. And come up here, do the bottom side. Still too dark. Very pale. Because I will be wanting to make that a different color. That'll be darker here. I'm doing this pale because this is much, we don't want to fill this in as dark. Similar color family. And we can come in then with slightly darker to say, emphasize the oops, that didn't work. All right, we'll play with this a bit more. Now I want to come in with kind of the reddish Devonian. Like so. And trying to keep it raggedy and not pure color so I can tease out some of the texture. And that very much a rose color. Blending that. There we go. See how I'm using the spiky tip on this to give it a little bit of texture. And then we've got some of the green shale. What's that? Green is sandstone. And it just creates some, yeah, it's kind of a dirty green. It is a very olivey green. So what I'll do is I'm going to create a green and then drop in a little of the magenta. Too much. Actually, I'll just pull it right from the sandstone there. See that? Knock that back a bit. See how that looks. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is down here, now that I've got this color, let's get the greeny bits. It's a little too green, but I can add neutral tint to shadow that out. Maybe a little wash of blue. And we've got several layers of this alternating. What I forgot to do was since I had that color mixed is to do the, you know what I did is I colored in the wrong one, didn't I? That is the red right there. So we'll just create that, a new one up above it. And it's okay, you know, when these are challenging to do, especially if we're working quickly. Get some more brown. Okay, wow, look at that line there. Interesting. The more I look, the more I study. See that little red right there? Toss some brown. And I've got a little of the reddish Devonian going right there. I need more of that bluey, greeny stuff. Now I'm hitting this with a little brown to knock that back, and I think that works. Get a little neutral tint in here. Pretty strong drainage there. I think I'm probably overworking this, which is easy to do. Oh, I know what I forgot. Okay, one more thing, and then I do need to move on because this is fun. Very pale. I want to show the colors coming down. Kind of got from pink to dark. I think what the dark is the an approximation of that green. Look at that. So there, yeah, when it hits the pink, it perfect. All right, I'm gonna let that sit for a bit. Looks like a bit of a mess, but I think it's gonna turn out great. But it just needs to sit and rest for a bit. Oh, and I need to write a few of my details. And I think I can add a bounding box. Yeah, that one's a bit wet. And as long as I'm at it, I'm going to fix my bounding box over here. I do not use rulers. I like to live a little dangerously. Oop. Okay. Oh, you know what I just did? That was a poor planning because now if I put my hand on this, I'm going to smear it. So I'll have to put my details a bit later. This is a strike slip. I'm holding my hand up. Huh. And that's hard.
If you put a piece of paper or wax paper over it,
Yeah, I could.
that might protect it.
I think I worry that even that it's still pretty wet. Yeah. Okay, strike slip fault. It's the offset I'm going to put first. The offset is about 2 miles. And if we want, we can actually mark that in here. It's up to you. I'm not going to write any more on that. But you can see how the bloom up here is drying. I like the way that's going to be. We'll do a wash, another wash, get some really pretty darks in there. Then I'll be able to come back later and really enhance the dark around the salt that I really want to stand out like so. Just to really make this there. You can see how we'll do that. That just it really improved that. Just graphite. And then a quick tip when you have graphite that is you're done, but you don't want it to smear the next page. I find that if we take a nice clear brush, don't pop it on your paper, and you just wet the graphite just a little. Don't smear it too much, but just get it wet. That helps set it and keep it from smearing over on the next page. even so, I am going to put a piece of paper here because this is wet. All right, what we're moving on after I get a sip of tea. These are fun, very varied. This was hard. I have a tendency to want to sit here for hours and hours and hours to capture everything exactly. But that's not what we're doing. It's fun to just get an essence of something. And this really helps me remind myself, do it quickly, capture what you need, and then let's move on. We can come back later. That's fine. But now we're moving into Saudi Arabia. And we are, these are fun. These are called desert diamonds, but they are not carbon diamonds. These are microcrystalline quartz, metamorphic rocks. They're naturally clear quartz found in the desert, particularly near a place just outside of Riyadh. They're from the Hijaz Mountains, which the drainages flow to the Arabian Gulf, and the stones tumble down there and are found on this vast desert plains. They're very hard, 7 to 7.5 on the Mohs scale, and they're cut into these beautiful, not like perfect diamonds, but they're really, really fun. So let's see how we're going to depict these. This will be a fun practice for a couple of different. I'm going to swap out something here. My cloth got too saturated, so it's this brush takes a huge amount of water, which is wonderful, but it also means it squeegees out a lot. So we will remind ourselves, this is number 5. These are the desert diamonds. Okay, so here. Now I'm going to do both. I think we can do both quickly. We're going to do the raw one. Just go ahead and just do your little bob. Doesn't have to be exactly the shape that we're seeing.
You're a little
Oh,
underneath the
thank
screen
you.
there.
I moved. The reason I noticed my cloth needed to be changed is because I was moving my journal over and it was sopping wet over there. So thank you. Yeah. And then we'll do a cut one right next to it. I'm only going to use pencil on the cut one very lightly. They have a pointed top, I could tell by looking. And then the facets go down like so. There was one facet that ran almost all the way, and then it broke like that. Or not broke, but and then there's a tiny bit of a table here. And then the way we achieve just a tiny bit of that interest is you got to show the shadow, or they could be occlusions, but don't go crazy. You need a lot of bright left. I'm going to I prefer to do these all with the neutral tint. but just showing you how we take a few planes here, showing a little bit of the surfaces, but also occlusions and shadows underneath. I'm going to leave it there for now, and then you'll see when we do the neutral tint how that works. This is going to be a fairly fast one, which is good. Faceted gems are hard because you just get way in the weeds on the details. Am I going to... Now, first I'm going to do the neutral tint around the cut one. See how dark that is? I don't need it super dark. I'm going to go darker on one side though. I'm going to, that's too wet. I'm going to let it dry brush a little. Mostly I'm wanting to just get the edges. And I wanted that dry brush. So it's just a little holder for it. And I just got paint. See what I did a blob there, so let me unblob that. Love the lifting paint. Okay, so that helps anchor that. Now I'm not going to use this. What am I? This is such a great brush. Look at that sharp tip. Can I get some of these painted? Yeah. Very, very carefully here. You don't want them to be super strong. But there is an edge to them. All right, I'm going to stop for now while I think about that. Let's see. If I do another one, I would leave a little white like so. They're almost like hard to figure out exactly where. Yeah, I didn't like that. So there, that's better. So right now I'm going to leave that guy while we do a wash to try to capture that pretty kind of irony peachy, which I do with the burnt sienna and yellow. But I want it to be really light to start. Like so. Because I want to leave the top of it looking lighter. See that? That's intentional. I'm going to go ahead and let that even pool there. And you can go in with a clean tissue and and pull some of that out so you retain some of the lighter top. Let that dry, then you little bit, and then we'll come in. I'm picking up some of the pigment now with a drier brush. And you would come in, even while it's a little damp, to give it some edge. Maybe not that much. And it's okay that it's coming here because I'm going to have a shadow there anyway. Um, Need a little bit more of this color. I'm going to let that dry. I think I'm overdoing it a little bit. Just dropping in a little bit more of burnt sienna because it's very peachy down along the edges. Now this is okay that it's bled here because I'm going to put a shadow there when it's dry. I'm going to do some writing here. Desert diamonds are, this is microcrystalline quartz. I'm going to go ahead and write quartz and the formula. Come up and it's microcrystalline. And this is a metamorphic. Not carbon. And this is from Saudi Arabia. Near Riyadh. And they are 7 to 7.5 on the Mohs. And I'll just go ahead and put in from the Hijaz Mountains. Hijaz. Great. Yeah, I'm liking that. See how you can refine that edge like so. And it's starting to look more like a diamond-ish. I'll come back and work with that now. We're going to move on now to, where are we heading? Time to move on. We are going, we're staying in Saudi Arabia to this really cool formation. This is called Al Nasla Rock Formation. Very famous. Loads of people go here. It is a sedimentary rock sandstone. We all know that. But it was fractured almost perfectly down the middle by something called natural tectonic stress. Tiny cracks, water infiltrates the tiny cracks, eventually minerals build up, temperature changes then force it apart. It's either called frost wedging or thermal expansion, depending on area. So this would probably be thermal expansion given where it is. And it's also an area of a lot of petroglyphs and inscriptions dating back to the Bronze Age, they think. So this is a fun one. And it's going to be good practice for how do we do these without like absolutely getting lost in the weeds. So I will put, just to anchor myself here, I'm gonna go here. This is Nasla. Oh, okay. And let's get the drawing in so we can fit the words around it. What I'll do is I'm gonna sketch very lightly kind of a basic blob to get my proportions right. And then I'm going to split my blob. Where my kneaded eraser is my friend. All right, I think I can work with those proportions. The split is going to be right about here. And it's really straight. So we'll get that sketched in. Also, this relationship with this lip, because there's a step here. One thing my eye keeps going back up to this here. I should have erased more of the graphite there. I write more heavily when I'm demoing. I press more heavily, and I don't like the way that looks. So that's just something to remember. Don't forget to remove your graphite before, if you have a very light. Just do like contour, blind contour ish. Don't worry about perfection here. It's on quite a pedestal. Look at that. There's two parts to it. Then we've got this lip section coming down. Now, we could go crazy trying to get this perfect, but we're not going to. Notice I'm doing just some lines to show that goes in. Now, lines that go the other way. There's a step down right there. And what we want to do is just show some of the structure, but don't go crazy. And this is where you can really uh, use the graphite to your advantage. Don't, use a lot of broken lines. And we've got kind of a ledge here. And I'm not going to go, I don't want to go too detailed here, or it's just kind of going to get in the weeds. Still have a whole other rock to draw here. That actually looks pretty good. Come down here. Has a little flat edge. There's a lip there. Another lip. Those are really helpful to do while you're doing these kind of blind, literally contours. A lot of broken line. Don't do try not to do a lot of solid. Okay to smear. See how this comes down and there's a series of like little layers. All right. I'm going to resist doing a ton more. She says as she keeps sketching. All right. Now, I have to remember to don't fill it. We're going to do a nice wash of burnt sienna. And to kind of give it some, I just tossed in a tiny bit of blue and throw in a tiny bit of magenta because there's a lot of different colors here. It's not one color, but I'm going to make this pretty wet. And mottled. Go ahead and if you want, leave extra paint down on the bottom. That's going to be darker anyway. This is we'll be filling this in with neutral tint. And I'm taking advantage of the texture of the paper here too. See how that neutral tint really helps with getting these textures in. All right, let's keep working on this. A little bit more neutral tint here. But you want to sometimes mix that neutral tint with your colors. So I mixed it with the burnt sienna. Almost too damp in here to work. Although that's nice. That's going on. Now, I think I will let that set for a bit. I'm in danger of overworking, as I like to say. What I really like about burnt sienna is that you can move it around, and since it's an earth pigment, it won't ruin it like it does other colors. Trying to get rid of those hard edges, and I'll come back and fix those because this is a soft looking old rock. All right. Let's let Al Nazra sit for a bit. Needs more dark in here after we will take a second pass. So this is sandstone. And it is about 20 by 30 feet. So we got the proportions pretty well. Fracture. So this is called a thermal expansion crack. And from tectonic stress. And this is this is Iran, right? Yes. No. Saudi Arabia. Sorry about that. All right. My goodness, running a bit behind. Definitely. We're going to go quickly now. Where are we going? Ah, up to Azerbaijan. Oh, this is super cool. These are demantoid garnets. Ah, this crazy green gemstone. It's a member of the garnet group and the mineral androtite. And it is a calcium and iron rich garnet, and it's chromium that gives it this crazy coloring. Um, Beautiful, gorgeous. This is from the Bekis Mountains, West Azerbaijan, and it's one of the most famous and highly coveted uh, garnets, highly refractive, which is atypical. And demontoid means diamond-like. Um, so gorgeous. I didn't know there was a green garnet. And look at that. The formula for it, crazy good. Okay, this is number 7. Demontoid garnet. Oh, and it's going to take, I don't think I can write the formula in there. I have to write it very small. Calcium, 3 iron, 2, 3 in oxygen, 12. Oh, looks like the tip of my pen got scrunched up a bit. Interesting. Okay. Not going to sketch with the pen though. I'm gonna do the guy that's in the middle because I like the shape and you can see some of the reflection. Pick one, go ahead and tackle a faceted one. Time-wise, I think I'd better stick with an uncut garnet. Okay, so I've got my general shape. I'm going to make this much lighter. And remembering that I want to reserve a little bit of the bright white along the lips so we can try to get that reflection. And otherwise, I think everything else is going to be with color. Now, what I'm going to do is lay down surprise yellow first. There's a lot of yellow reflecting out of this. It's a yellow, green, blue. And leaving the white and then yellow reflection. Okay, that needs to dry before I do my layers on top. We'll do a little bit of writing. Fortunately, it's so dry here that it's going to dry very quickly. This is androtite gemstone, androdite. In the garnet family, garnet group. And it's calcium and iron rich. You can see that. Calcium and iron. But it's the chromium gives it the intense color. and it's from we'll do this in the Kazakh Belkis mountains of West Azerbaijan. Nice. Oh, and if you want to put demantoid from the old German. For diamond. All right, that's probably dry enough. What we're going to do is fun. We're going to take manganese blue wash, but I'm going to try to be quick about it so I can control some of the coloring. But I'll probably just end up pulling that out with I want it to be kind of mottly, and I want that yellow to show through. There's a bright spot kind of here. And while that's, you want it to be just damp enough, but not too damp to put in some of the darks. It's so hard for me to tell in this climate what that's going to be. So see, it's already almost too dry. And I lost my white. I did not reserve that white strip. I got blue in it. It's one of the challenges of watercolor, of course, is working quickly and remembering what you want to save and what needs to be colored. I think that's moving the color around too much. Have our reflection here. Let's see. Oof. The reflection is sort of, I didn't quite get that. And we'll work on, yeah, I don't want it brighter than the actual gemstones. So, and maybe I can bring the white back with a white gel. I'm gonna let that dry. And then I'll probably give it, it's probably too wet to give it a tiny bit of a wash. Yep, I'm gonna stop. I want to do one more blue wash, but I think if I do it, no, it's going there. And then I can come back and hit it again with a little yellow highlights. Okay. And the green, I think, it will definitely darken up as it dries. It looks too bright here, but when it dries, I think it'll be good. And so we have one more place to go in a very short time. Where are we going? Oh, yeah, up to Kazakhstan. Ooh, this is going to be fun. These are the Fang Formation, part of the, let's see if I can find my mouse. Oops, no. Well, unable to catch my mouse. So this is, I can't read the title of this one because there. the the bar, my mouse wasn't working. The bar was not able to be moved. Anyway, this is the Basra Valley in Mangestau, Kazakhstan. This is a cool formation. I'll show you the larger view, called the Fangs. This is a limestone, obviously sedimentary formation, once part of the ancient Tethys Ocean. So this is eroded from an ocean floor. You can see there are people there, and there's this great rib. It's been eroded, and then two fangs. So that's super, super fun. So let's sketch that. What we'll do is we want to make sure we get our proportions right. I'm going to kind of pull in from the edge here a small, here's the ledge that people are standing on. All right, and then here I'm just kind of blind contouring here. Then we're going to come up here, go out a little ways. There's one little jag, and then it has a tip there. Oops, comes down. And then we've got the bottom of the cliffs here. It comes down. And then we're going to bring in our foreground, which will be helpful for giving some scale. Do your foreground however you like. Now, here's what we want to note. Okay, that's coming here. The top of the spire is, to our eye here, is about the same as that. So this fang here, or point, let's do this shape that points like so. This is the eroded backside. Make that dark to remind you. And then that fin keeps going up. And we have a square. I'm just going to do these roughly right now. It's a little bit taller. I think we're okay though. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to cheat and pull this up just a little. There. This has a shoulder, comes down right about there. And just sort of feeling the edges here. This is so cool. Everything kind of meets right at that point, and there's some striations there, but then also this helps us remember that it's got that square shape. The skirt coming down. There's talus slopes here. This is kind of rubble. There's a cut there, and then you might want to just show a few of these lines. Don't do a ton. Don't forget, oops, almost forgot, we want to give this some contour to show it's in a different location. And then we have our second fang. Like so. And the lines don't meet. We don't want that to show that as meeting. Make this a tiny bit skinnier, taller. I mean, not as tall. And just quickly show that that's somewhat conical. And then when you come down here, just you'll be adding some of these, not a lot, and it kind of looks like an outboard motor, doesn't it? This is quite the knife edge here. And just show a few striations there. Ooh, I like that. So this is the Basra. Bosira, probably. Valley. Fang formation. Oops. Look what I did. I did a cursive and then I did a plain F. I mixed my F. It's like mixing metaphors. I never know if I'm going to write cursive or print. So this was once part of the, oh, well, let's say it's a limestone first. And remember that is limestone. And it's sedimentary. And we'll put down here, it's about 250 meters tall. And it's from the ancient Tethys ocean floor. Okay. So for that, this is not a hard, oh, we've got our little people. We want to put our little teeny tiny people because that really shows the scale. Hello. Put up their little arms. Don't forget your little scale there. Now, for this, will be a simple wash, starting out with the burnt sienna, remembering to leave some light areas. And I'm going fairly light because I can always come back. There's a little bit more gray in there, so I'm hitting this with a little blue. I'm kind of rushing this because I do want to honor our time as much as we can. And I can put the finished ones up on the website as always. Honestly, I just kind of want to get a base in there. To dry so I can come back. Great. I think I will call that one for now, even though it's nowhere near done. As I said, 2 hours. We do about 15 minutes. This guy's looking much better. I can get it wet, add a few more subtle greens and the darks to give it its shape. Same here, more darks. Try to get rid of the graphite though. Once you get it wet, it just doesn't like to move. I think I'll call that one good. Ultramarine looks wonderful. This I'll fix, just enhance with a few darks and probably some measurements, finish writing my information and enhance that with shadows. And as I did here with the pencil, or use a colored pencil so it doesn't smear as badly, and you'll be good. So those were fun. Those were a lot of work. I'm a bit out of practice. So let's see. Stop share. Let's go see everybody. I'm going to switch to gallery view. How did everybody do? Were these hard? No, there were some fun ones. I always find that, trying to get the clear, crystally ones the hardest. Working fast is hard. Anyone want to share their pages? Anyone want to share? Use the raise hand feature if you do. No, these were hard. Yay, Mary. Let me spotlight you. Woohoo, well done. Nicely done. Ooh, look at the greens. Oh, I like that. I like how you did all the layout. Ooh, you captured the Basura Valley really well, really fast. Did you use a brush pen? Mm, you're muted. Oh, so that was watercolor. Well done.
I used this travel brush. that I've never used before.
Wow, you've got it. Nicely done. I really like that. We can
There's
we
more.
can learn from the way Mary did gestures with the brush. Nice. Oh, good colors. Well done.
And colored pencil. I didn't
Oh,
have any
good.
watercolor right here.
Yeah, the I think colored pencil would work really well for the pick young fault. I like that. Yeah, I agree. Nice. Oh, good job on that. Well done.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Thank you, Mary. That was great. I want to
this is
try
fun.
redoing the Basura Valley with
I'll
I
show
like the
one.
gestures. Okay, let's see. Uh, hold
I'll
on.
show one. Eleanor.
Is your turn
Oh,
on
video. Gotta
your
do
video?
video.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
here
you
we
to
go.
pop up.
Now,
There
how
we
do
go.
I turn it around? I don't know how to turn it around. Can you see anything? I can't see it.
We can now, yeah, if you yep, hold it right there.
Okay.
Nice. Oh, I like that. Again, nice gestures on the valley. See, I get sucked into the detail. Um, nice. You captured everything super fun. I love it.
I really enjoyed these little garnets.
You
Those
see
came out
how
better than I thought they would. And
really
the
I like
lazuli.
I really like how you
Not
just
so great here.
suggested. Notice how she just suggested the cuts. She didn't try to
Yeah,
do the facets. She just threw a few lines in, and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. I sh I will try that again. Oh, and the ultramarine looks really nice. We can barely see it to the uh other side, other way.
better,
Turn the camera
other
the
way.
other way. There you go. Ah, that came out really great. Love it. Sweet. Oh, that is so fun. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Anyone else? Some more? Teresa, yay. Okay, let's see. Spotlight.
Hi. So I'm actually doing a couple of different things, so I had to stop for the garnets, but
Oh,
um
sweet. Oh, I like
these
the
are
red.
my I got a little bit lost in all the layer cakes
Yeah.
in the
But
I'm like, wait, I think I'm one off.
I totally
Um
get that. And I tend to get lost in those too, but you captured it with just a few lines, which I really like. Same with
and
the
then
salt.
and then with the cave, um I I haven't done a lot of these with you, and this picture, I was at first I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so hard. How are you possibly going to draw it? But I kind of followed along. I love how you kind of just hinted at the different stalactites here, and it sort of just works.
Nice.
Um, I tried the resist with
Oh,
parchment paper. It doesn't work. I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't work. So I didn't that was a little bit of a detour experiment. That's my
nice.
um
The
fault.
fault, yeah.
Yep. The diamonds, the facets. I'm gonna try adding some lines. Um, like I'm sorry, I forgot your name already. Did
Oh,
I
right.
really
Wait,
like that, but
Eleanor, was
I
it
this
Eleanor, I think.
excuse me. Um,
Yeah,
and
just
then
suggesting. I like that better as well. Yeah.
yeah, it looked really good. And then this is as far as I got with the
Nice.
this is so cool. And this is wonderful, Roseann. But it's so dangerous because it makes me want to travel.
I know.
I was like, wow, look at that. I want to go visit that. It's so
I
cool.
know.
Thank you so much for all your research.
I like put these in my comment. I have a commonplace book that is like where it's not my journal. This is my daily like where I keep everything. It's like there's a part in the back where I add like where I want to go, and it's like, oh yeah, Cappadocia. Um, oh yeah, I gotta go. I gotta
Oh my
get me some
gosh.
of those desert diamonds.
It's amazing. The landscapes are so beautiful. And I find rocks kind of mysterious in terms of drawing them anyway. So this is really fun for me.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
just at least reminders at the high level of what, metamorphic, sedimentary, and how it's just amazing how much similar the formulas are for different rocks. It's just different. The recipes are different. So
And I think learning what you can leave out and still capture
yeah,
the essence of what it is. That's really cool. Thank
I
you
think
guys so much.
I still try to put too much detail in. I'm going to go back and look at the recording. Eleanor and Mary's minimalist approach I really like. I have a hard time with minimalist drawing.
It's so hard.
Jeannie,
But
yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Take a
Uh-oh.
balloon in Cappadocia.
Oh, the balloons in Cappadocia.
Yeah.
Jeannie's got a problem with her sound we couldn't fix. So, yes, that's like the famous thing that people do. There's like the balloon festival, and yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. And let me see. I've got somebody in the chat here. Oh, nice. Let's see. Thank you. And I will put, if you're so inclined, I always put up my tip jar. Always appreciated. Um, Goes right to the website. And thank you for coming. We have the second half of Asia coming up. And that'll be fun. We'll be dipping down into more of the Orient, and it's super fun. I've already got a whole bunch picked out. I will get that, I promise, on the schedule probably early July. So how does what would July 5th look like for people? Is that like, are you all do people go away over the weekend? We never go anywhere on major holidays because we don't like the crowds. Yeah, are we maybe around July 5th?
Yeah.
Okay. I earmark that and I will try to get that on the calendar. So fun. Okay, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. That was fun and enjoy. See you next time. And those of you who are signed up for the Nature Journal Academy, see you next week. All right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.